I don't know where we as, society kind of veered off the road, right? Where we just stopped talking about this. Um, I think that for me, there's nothing morbid about this. This is really, um, again, it's family protection. I think it's an act of love. It's um, to to map out this course of action, and um, you know it's really, I think about my family, I think about my children, and I've been so open with them, to where we kind of we joke a little bit about it. And my children, yeah, okay, Dad, we know you're going to die, you want to party on the beach, you want good music, you want sushi, we get it. But I want them to be comfortable with this. We're talking about a life cycle event, and I think about, you think about a marriage, right? And people will spend 2 years planning out that particular life cycle event, a marriage. Um, and statistically, I hate to break the news to anybody, but statistically, that in our country, that'll last about 8 years. So, um, I think about the fact that this is, again, kind of the last impression you're going to make on your loved ones. And uh, I went to a funeral about 2 years ago, and this was a family friend, and he was uh, he was 94, and he spent the last year or so of his life on in hospice care. And there was no denying that the end was near, but nobody really talked about it. Nobody planned any of this. There was a hospice minister that eulogized him. Um, this guy didn't know who this man was at his core. He knew him while he was sick. He knew him the last year of his life, and he visited him once every 2 weeks for 45 minutes or so. So for me, I just thought that what a disservice. And there was I'll share the story. Uh, we were we were putting together some video for our website, and we had hired a woman to come in to do some reading for us. And she just came in, on a per diem basis, knew she was getting a paycheck for the day, didn't really know what the service was or what the product was. And we gave her the script, and she started reading it. And she said, I want to share my story, if you don't mind. And I said, please. So her mom had suddenly passed away at 65 years old, and her and her sister were just blindsided, completely unexpected. So, they put together an end of life ceremony. They had mom cremated because that's what they believed mom wanted. And about 2 months later, when they went to clean out mom's house, they found a legal pad with all of mom's directives. And mom wanted a funeral. Mom wanted to be buried. Mom had readings picked out. Mom had songs picked out. Mom had an outfit picked out. And they were devastated. And they have to live with that. Now, mom went through the whole process of kind of mapping this all out on paper, but still couldn't bring herself to have the discussion. And that was a moving story. So we obviously scrapped our script, and we used her story on our site. And again, when I talk to my children, grief is grief is a powerful emotion, right? And I believe that the more we grieve, the more we've loved. and and we want to embrace that. So, but there's some stress that's associated with that grief when it comes to loss of life. And I do think that by talking about it, by planning, that you can significantly reduce that stress, if not completely eliminate it. I know personally, I've always struggled with the thought of dying. And, there were nights where I would kind of wake up in a cold sweat just thinking about, not being there for my children anymore. And kind of the unknown, right? And I think that's probably part of all of this, right? It's the fear of the unknown. Right? But I will say that 2.5 years of kind of 24/7 in this area of death, dying, funerals, I'm at ease. And I think that, if we open up and start the discussion, that we'll find it becomes much easier to talk about.